Testing, testing. 1, 2, testing.
Sure, sure. Okay. Yeah, he was kind of a good fellow to talk to and everything.
Well, we don't have a light though.
Can you hear me, Miss Addie?
I don't either. I don't do that either.
I think you have it on backwards. That's the wrong ear. That needs to go in the other ear. Yep, that's the one you want to put in that ear. Yeah. Can you hear me? Hey, Larry, your headphones. Can you put your headphones on real quick? Can you put your headphones on real quick? Your headphones. Your headphones.
Headphones.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Yeah, if I can hear it to find out what I'm supposed to do, I'll put my earplug in, maybe I can hear it.
Yeah, I would put both in.
Both of them?
Mm-hmm.
This is a wonderful improvement, thank you. My ears are so small. Upside down.
It looks right. Can you hear me? All right.
My ears are big enough to hold them.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
I can.
All right.
Do I have a volume anywhere?
It's up as far as it'll go.
Where?
I think it's up as high as it'll go. But it's on your unit, on the black unit, your receiver.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Really, you only need one ad. Well, you can always do them like this.
They swivel.
Damn technology.
And I have one too, just to monitor the sound. Can you hear me? can't tell if that says a number, if it's just still 0. I guess 0 is a number. Mary, can you? Oh, sorry, I was saying Mary. I'm getting her to check the stream. Okay, cool.
Mm-mm.
If I could just get everybody to turn their mics on, please. All right, Miss Jackie, we're ready whenever you are.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Today is May the 4th,
Mhm.
2021, and it's now 9 o'clock, and we are calling the Board of Elections meeting to order. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Chair, if no additions, I approve the agenda be accepted.
Second.
Good. Then I properly moving the second that we approve the agenda. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Do you need a few more minutes to review the minutes?
A couple, please.
Okay, we'll give about 5 minutes to review the
Thank
minutes from
I made a lot of notes.
April the 6th. So we'll give about 5 more minutes.
And Miss Lynn or Miss Michelle, if you wanted to, your stuff is on. If you wanted to use it, if you don't, then that's totally fine.
If the traffic gets too bad, I will.
Well, we can shut the door.
Shut the door.
Yeah, it's loud.
She got it.
There, the blocks in the door again. I guess we just throw it on the ground so you can still get in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
People can still get in. We have to leave. They're on the back table by the counter. Did all of you sign in? Do you want me to sign mine?
Yes,
Please
please.
do that.
Mary said the sound is really good. Good. Watching.
Yes, ma'am.
Too late.
Okay.
We got 1 minute remaining. Okay. It's now 9:06. Do we need some additional time?
We're good. I'm good.
Okay. Moving forward. In my hastiness to approve the agenda, I failed to ask if we needed to add public comments to the agenda. We have no one, I don't think we have anyone on the screen. But I do ask if we have anyone that would like to make public comments this morning. Okay, thank you very much. I'm moving forward with our agenda. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from April the 6th?
So moved.
I have some corrections or questions.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Under updates, there wasn't anything about the discussion on list maintenance and post-election letters to the poll workers. And then under lessons learned, I'd like to see in a little more detail, but I'm not sure what fell in public and what fell in private. So I'll let that go, unless anybody else can clarify that.
What was your first statement? I didn't hear it. I did hear it, but I didn't get it.
Excuse me. The discussion on list maintenance and we were told the post-election letters went out to the poll workers.
Okay.
So those were the pre-election.
Hmm?
The pre-election letters for interest in working.
Post-past election, pre-new election.
Yeah, I just wanted to make, I was like, post-election.
Yeah, well, that's why I wrote it down.
Okay, pre-election. Gotcha.
Are you saying that needs to be added to the
Yes.
minutes?
Discussion on list maintenance and exactly what that is.
Okay, lessons learned. Are you asking a question about that?
Well, there's not a lot of detail there, but I can't remember exactly where it went from public to closed. So if anybody else sees anything that should be there, fine. If not, I'll shut up.
I will say that in the past, when we've gone to state board training, they've said every little thing doesn't have to be in the minutes. The other thing is, we're putting this out on YouTube, so if anybody has any questions, they can go and look and see everything that was said.
Now,
Now.
yeah, we didn't do the last one because I didn't have
So that
approval
should
from you.
help.
Yeah, definitely.
And we do have the minutes for the closed session, so would that address the concern?
But if we want to discuss the closed session
No, I'm not
minutes,
saying not discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm saying it was not in the open session. I'm
right,
saying that we have it in the closed session.
right.
Yeah,
I was
we-
just, if you wanted to talk about it, we would have to go into closed session.
But we're not gonna approve the closed session.
Not until
minutes
next time.
Next meeting.
Okay.
So, does that suffice?
Those two things, yes.
Okay, so you're satisfied?
If those two things are added, yeah.
Okay, all right.
So would you like me to go add them now, or do you want to approve them pending the changes and sign the sheet and I'll add them?
We will approve the minutes and you just made the corrections. If that's okay with the board? Is that
And I'll
okay?
send them out in an email.
Okay, all right. May I have a motion to approve the minutes with the necessary corrections?
So moved.
May I get a second?
I second it.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we approve the minutes from April the 6th with the necessary corrections. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. I'm having a hard time.
They have different sizes.
Uh,
Colors that go on there that might have been changed.
I can't hear
They
you.
have different sizes.
There you are, dear.
They have different sizes that may help it stay in your ear.
Okay,
I think those may be the largest size.
They're like the mid-range. I also have a different in my office if you want,
okay.
but I can't offer them to everybody.
Is this, supposed to do it in black?
It doesn't matter.
Okay,
I'm not entirely sure.
all right. There you go. Thank you so much. All right, moving on with our new business. Meeting schedule updates.
Yes, sorry, 2 seconds. Get myself back in order here. Okay. So all of you should have the meeting schedule in your little packets. So just a couple changes. The monthly meeting in July, the date needs to be changed from the 6th to the 20th. Because the swearing in of new board members occurs on July 20th. So that meeting has to be changed. And then the August 17th meeting is added. That's the day that we have to appoint chief judges and judges. It has to be done on that day, so we had to add that. And then from the last schedule that we talked about to this one, the provisional and supplemental meeting for the municipal, change that from October 14th to October 13th to give us a day between that meeting and Canvas to get ready for Canvas. That's really all the changes, or my recommendations for changes.
I do have a question. The June 1st one is the day after Labor Day. Is there any way we could move that one day?
Say again.
Labor Day.
June 1st, May 31st
Memorial
is
Day.
Labor Day.
Memorial
Not
Day?
Memorial Day, sorry. And is there any way we could move June 1st to June 2nd?
Or we can move it to the next week,
Or the next week, either one?
just so we
I'm
keep
ju-
it the Tuesdays.
I'm just asking.
Any discussion from the board on changing the June meeting from June 1st to the
June
next-
8th.
June 8th? Any discussion?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Do we need to make a motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I make a motion, we change the June meeting from June 1st to June 8th.
I second it.
Then properly moved and seconded that we change the June 1st meeting to June 8th. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
And then I guess a motion to approve all the changes, the
Okay.
other changes.
May I have a motion to approve all the changes to the board meeting schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Then properly moved and seconded that we approve the board meeting schedule with the necessary corrections. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion-
Question regarding the fall schedule. Do we have any indication from the city that they will be making a decision?
We're going to talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, will that affect this calendar?
No,
Okay,
not at this point.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay. So next up is Municipal 2021. We had a statewide meeting last week, and Karen Brenson Bell, the executive director, told us that based off what the legislature has told her, the legislature is not going to take up postponing the municipals. Postponing the municipals. So she told us to go ahead and prepare to have the municipals this year on schedule like we normally would. That's not finalized yet, but that was just her advice, was just go ahead and plan like we're going to have an election, which is why I didn't take those dates out of our calendar. Some things, hold on, I have some. I know that by the time we really get into the heat of planning for the municipal, we're going to have, we're going to be within our new board, whatever makeup that is. But just to give y'all some dates of interest, the one-stop schedule must be submitted to the state by August 12th. So just for the general public, anybody who would like to have input on the one-stop schedule, the meetings towards the end of July, beginning of August would be where we would talk about that. Candidate filing, this is on your actual calendar, but just for information, candidate filing for the municipal, and that is for the mayor and all 8 ward seats, will start on July 26th and will run through August 13th, and that's from noon on the 26th to noon on the 13th.
July 26th.
6th.
through-
April,
August.
wow,
August
August 13th.
Thank you.
And there's one more thing that we're going to talk about a little bit later concerning office security. But we need to preliminarily decide if I need to go ahead and reserve the room or a room at KE White for one stop. We'll get into this a little bit more later, but they are moving public defense into Daybreak, which is going to put the entrance door for public defense right next to one stop. And there are some security concerns about what that means for voter safety. And so we need to decide, do we want to have it in this room if we're allowed to, or do I need to preliminarily, not that we're going to use it, but go ahead and reserve a room at KE White.
Could you explain a little bit more about what that means, what public defense is going to include?
Public defense is all of the public defenders for any court cases in Gates County and Perquimans County and Pasquotank and Camden and in Currituck. So, yeah,
Mhm.
and it's going to be right next door.
Literally.
Literally,
one door
like,
over.
Walk here 3 feet into public defense. which is going to put public defense within our buffer zone for no campaigning. So that's also thing. I mean, Daybreak was also within that zone, so that's not really, but it's just voter safety is what
But
we need to
Daybreak
think
is
about.
A couple of doors down. though.
Daybreak's gone. Daybreak,
I know, but the doors are a couple of doors down.
they're going to come in right here.
Right, but this new place is coming in right here.
Mhm.
So that is a concern.
I mean, we cannot, I don't think that we need to decide exactly where we're going to have one stop now. I just need to know if I should go ahead and reserve the room.
Right.
I would think that would be a good idea, even if we don't use it. It's better to have it and not need it than to need it and then you can't get it.
Right.
Uh,
I don't see a problem.
With reserving it.
No, I mean, I don't think we need to, but might check and see if it's available, but
I think that's-
I know that they are. I mean, we probably wouldn't use the ballroom. We don't need something that size, but there is another really good room. It's room 107.
I'd rather we keep it here, one stop here.
I mean, I would,
All possible.
I would too, but
I think you're doing that just precautionary,
Right.
right? In case you need it.
it's not a guarantee we're
No,
gonna
either
go
way.
there. We just want to make sure that we have another place
Exactly.
that's
As a
needed.
backup.
Yeah,
As a
if
backup.
you need it.
and it might be that Director Bell has said that some of the precautions that were in place for the general are also going to be in place for the municipals. Maybe not so much like as high strung as it was for the general,
Is it
but
smaller?
things, yeah, because it's much smaller. But things like possibly having a backup site just in case we need a backup site. If we have an outbreak of COVID within our one-stop site, we're going to have to move it. So I think that would also, just as a precaution, if we don't use that room, we would keep it as our backup site for one stop.
Ms. Chairman, may I ask Mr. Ward a question since he was in law enforcement?
Yes.
My question is, if the public defense people are right here, does that mean all of their customers are going to be right there too?
That's correct.
That's what I thought, okay. Does that mean that the sheriff's deputies would bring them here in handcuffs and all that stuff?
No, these are people that have
Bailed out.
requested and received public defenders through the courts. They've already been through the court systems and they're now asking for attorneys.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Any further discussion on using ECSU Kermit E. White as a backup for the municipal elections? Okay, do we need to make a motion so that she can do that? Or proceed with obtaining Kermit E. White as a backup for the municipal election?
I make a motion, we give our director the authority to contact Kermit White in case it is needed as a backup.
I second the motion.
Okay, it's been properly moved and second that we contact Kermit White, giving permission to Director Tate to contact Kermit White to use it as a backup for the municipal election. All in favor?
Question, Madam Chairman. Are we going to do availability or go ahead and make a reservation?
I think it would probably be,
Both.
yeah, I mean, I have to see if something's available definitely first.
But you're planning on making a reservation?
Just, I mean, because they fill up so fast.
Right.
And there's no cost, so it's not gonna, there's not a cost that we would accrue. It's just reserving it.
It's not a cost to the county for that.
No.
Okay. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. Any further municipal information?
No, I'm working on planning out the training schedule. We're gonna try something a little bit different for signing poll workers up for the training schedule. We had the North Carolina Association of Directors of Elections conference last week as well. And I got a lot of ideas on how to better manage poll workers through that conference. Kind of ties into the lessons learned that we talked about last time. There's a online sign up software. It's called Sign Up Genius, and it's very easy to use and it's very comprehensive and allowing like certain time slots or certain amount of people to sign up for a certain training, so that once it's capped, that one goes away and it's full. So that we can send something out to all the poll workers that says, please sign up online. If you're uncomfortable with signing up online, call us and we'll sign you up, because we can get on and do the same thing for them. That way we'll have like a running list. And if we need to move anybody, then it's easier and we're not having all these paper lists around and getting mixed up. And I think it'll just be a lot easier. So we're going to try that this election. But like I said, we're getting the training schedule together, following the resolution that y'all passed on training, and the dates that are on that.
That will be after the new board is sworn in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they definitely will not start before July. I think that's it for, at this point, that's it for the election updates. But like I said, they're just telling us to go ahead and prepare like we're going to have an election this year. So we're high in the swing of that.
So we don't have to take any action on that. That's just.
Right. That's just information.
for our
Yeah.
purposes. Okay.
Yep.
Any questions of Ms. Tate for that? Okay. Updates.
Alrighty. So just following up some stuff that we talked about last time. We did get our postage meter. It is up and running. We did have to have a few phone calls with technical support to get it going, but it's running and has been in use. So just wanted to give you an update on that. I ended up not having to write a letter to the county, because when I called Laura that day, she was like, all right, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing. I'm going to get this done. So by the end of the day, on the last time we had the meeting, it was already ordered. So
Okay.
there was no need for that letter. The binders that y'all have, Miss Jackie, you don't have one because you
Right, I
have it
I
already.
brought it.
I had to make a very much impromptu presentation before the Board of Commissioners, the 19th of April, I believe it was, concerning, there had been some public concerns raised about the integrity of our new voting equipment. And so I went before the board just to give them what information I had, and the information that I presented them is in the binders. If y'all get any questions about our voting equipment, I wanted y'all to have these just so you can see all the information that I have. There's the voting equipment certification manual is in there, so you can see exactly the process that is followed to certify voting equipment in North Carolina. Press releases from the state board, from the election systems and software where we're getting our equipment from. The concerns that were raised over the machines are also in there. Just all the information is there for y'all to have, as well as our contract is in there as well. And if y'all have any questions, obviously, please just let me know.
I think we probably will have questions at the next meeting, after they look at the, binder, because there's a lot of information there.
Yeah. But the county commissioners were comfortable with what I presented. And so that's all moving forward. As a result of that, though, I had a conversation with Ms. Boylan outside of the county commissioner meeting about our logic and accuracy testing. And because she had raised some concerns over the simulation being only on printed ballots, not bubbled ballots, like physically bubbled ballots. And I was talking to her about our logic and accuracy testing process. And just for anybody who doesn't know, the logic and accuracy testing is comprehensive testing that all of our voting equipment goes through prior to the start of by mails. All machines have to be tested and approved by the board for production before we can even start scanning ballots.
Explain that just a little bit more. Who physically are the testers?
Well, in the past, it's been us, the office staff. We test all the tabulators and all the auto marks.
Right.
But through conversations with Ms. Boylan and Ms. Brown, Chair Brown, we had thought of possibly moving LNA testing to a public meeting, and then bringing in poll workers to run the testing. So it's not us that's doing it. It's just feeding ballots. That's all it is. It's like a
Yeah,
recount.
Like we did before?
Right.
How do
Um,
other counties handle this?
It's a mix. Some people do it in public meetings. Some people bring in poll workers to do it not in public meeting. Some people do it like we used to, which is just the office staff. It's a mix between the counties.
Well, because of all the things that are going on with elections and accountability, I think this is here to stay. So
Yeah, and I just think just to garner public comfortability and public support of our new voting equipment, it would be a good idea.
and transparency.
Yeah, and transparency to do the testing and review of the testing in a public meeting. Obviously, we always do the review of testing in a public meeting just because we have to, but the actual running of the ballots would be done in public meeting as well. And we would bring in like 9, we have 18 machines that we're going to have to test. We would bring in 9 poll workers and they would test 2 each. It would probably take, I would say probably about an hour to test all the machines. And then probably about another hour to review it. So it'd be about a 2 to 3 hour meeting. But I think it would really make the public a little bit more comfortable with seeing exactly how the LNA testing process works and
Do you
what,
think we'd have to do that if we have these fall elections?
well, we have to do LNA testing anyways.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
before any election. This isn't something that I'm just like, we have to. And it's
not
just,
required like doing a 4-year cycle
before every election.
every election.
So before every municipal, before every primary, before every general,
Very good.
it's required.
Okay.
I was just suggesting moving it from what we normally do into a public meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it would help from stopping misinformation being spread too,
Mhm.
the transparency.
And I don't have a exact date on when that would be. It would have to be after ballots are made, which would be towards the middle or end of August. Obviously, our first absentee meeting is August 31st, so it'll probably be around that time that we would have that meeting.
Would this be by invitation again, like we did when we brought the machines in?
I mean, I imagine if there's still restrictions on capacity,
Oh.
I mean, we don't ever want to be like unsafely crowded,
That's right.
but it would just depend on what the circumstances were.
Okay.
And I don't think that could be by invitation, because it'd be open to the public, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would be like we did with the simulation where we had certain people that were allowed to be in room and then we had it streaming for anybody else who wanted to see it.
Right. Okay. Any other updates?
Oh, yeah. So, all right, I've done that. I've done all that. Okay. Talk about that. You also have the letter that we sent to the city. Miss Brown, Chair Brown, came in, reviewed it, made a few little minor changes, and then she signed it and we sent it out. Haven't heard anything back from it yet, but it has gone out. So y'all all have that for review. What else? Obviously, we're streaming via YouTube. So I did send y'all the email from Mike Cox, our county attorney. He did approve. He did say that it was totally fine to stream via YouTube. So obviously we have that up and running. We've done a few tests and everything is working. Have it on good authority that everything is very clear and we can be heard. So
Hey, just, I tried to do this, I wasn't able, 10 days ago maybe. But now we go on, we hit subscription,
Mhm.
and then it allows us to
Yeah.
subscribe and become a member anyhow.
yeah, we didn't have any videos on our channel. So that's why when you search, it's not easy to find us yet, but this will be our first one.
Yeah,
So when you search Pasquotank County Board of Elections, we will now come up first.
gotcha.
And then I got some tips from Christina on exactly how to boost us on searching.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to follow those tips. Certain tags that when people search certain words, we come up as suggested videos, things like that.
Now, who was that gave you that information?
Christina
Oh, okay.
Williams.
Thank you.
Just some procedural updates. I don't know if any of y'all have been on our website recently. We're always constantly moving and evolving on there, trying to make it more user friendly, trying to make it more informational to the voters. There's still some things up there that we need to edit, like the current candidates, all of that fun stuff. But we created a page called Data and Statistics on our website. And that's just going to be when we're not in an election, it's going to be general information on voter statistics by precinct, by county commissioner district, by school board district, by party, just general things that we get a lot of questions about. It'll be much easier to go on the website and find that information. It'll be updated probably monthly. Once we get it up and running, we're still pulling the data for that. But that'll get updated monthly. And then when we're in an election, we get a lot of information or a lot of requests about just kind of going back to our discussion last meeting about data requests and the frequency of data requests. We get a lot of requests about absentee voters, about one-stop voters, all of that fun stuff. So the law says that people who request ballots are confidential until they're returned or till election day. Same with one-stop voters. But after that ballot is cast, that information is no longer confidential. It is public record. So we can pull reports, put them on our website so people can see who has voted. Because we get a lot of questions about that. So it's just easier to preemptively put it up there than to have to stop what we're doing in the middle of something to like fulfill a data request that way.
So that's an added responsibility that you all are.
We've done this in the past.
I know, but you're gonna make it available to the public.
Yes. We did it for the municipal and for the primary. We didn't really do it for the general, just because there were so many questions around what we were allowed to put out there. But this is something I've talked to Mary about this and asked her if she was comfortable taking on the responsibility of data on the website, and she said she was.
So that'd be her responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, we all work on a lot of stuff,
But
but
that was gonna be my
her
next
key
question.
responsibility,
Who will
well,
be responsible for doing that?
mostly Mary. So we're working on that just to make everything in our office, like working towards the goal of full transparency, all of that fun stuff. And just making our lives easier by having the information already available for somebody to go and find. Talked about that. I brought this up very briefly in the last meeting, but we have instituted our return log in the office. We had some people who just had some questions about returning absentee requests or registrations in the last election. And just to make us more accountable, the voters more accountable, we created what we're calling the return log. And basically what this consists of is there's going to be the voter's name is going to go on the log, who in the office accepted whatever it was, it's going to go in the log, the date that it was accepted, what was accepted. And then we have this little sticker that's going to have the date, the office staff initials, and then the voter's signature, just so it'll be they'll have a full line for that one voter. And if there's not a signature there from the voter, then that's a problem. Or if there is a signature there and something happened to whatever they turned in, then that's on us completely. And it'll just make us more accountable.
What about people who are requesting an absentee ballot for someone else?
Well, we have different requirements that we're required to follow for absentee return logs. So that is something that the state provides us with. This is more for registrations, deceased voter notices, things like that. The absentee return logs are little sheets of paper that people have to fill out. Little bit different. But I imagine if the state board says it's okay to implement our own log, then we could use that. But the actual sheet with everybody's names is not getting passed back and forth. So the confidentiality of what's on that sheet won't be breached. But it's just a way to try to be more accountable. I don't know what that means, so I'm going to cross that out. We talked a little bit about the security concerns around public defense moving next door. And in light of this, y'all approved the implementation of the panic button system at the last meeting. But there's a lot of concern within our office with some people that we've talked to, people in the strip mall, about public defense coming over here. Public defense doesn't really want to come over here, but they are also going to have a lot of security implementations in place that we will not have. And they're not always open. So if they're not open, somebody angry comes, we're concerned that they would move to the next county office right next door, which would be us.
Concerns from other tenants in the complex.
As well, yeah. But this is just, what I'm talking about now is just for the concerns that we have. So I wanted to get your approval or your support to ask the county manager to include security updates for our office in the coming year. This would include, obviously, the panic system y'all have already approved. Revisit bulletproof glass. I know we've talked about that a lot, but just to make us feel safer. Possibly a mag lock system on the front door. That's not as important. And getting the parking lot lights fixed, because you go out there and they're not on at night.
Is that not a work order in for just normal maintenance on the parking lot?
I don't know. It's just, it's so dark out there when you go out at night.
Have you all put a request in for it to be done?
Not yet.
Okay.
But I was going to ask if maybe we could draft a letter, send it to Sparty with these recommendations and our concerns, maybe signed by Chair Brown, just voicing our concerns.
Why don't you just make a request as a tenant?
I mean, I can make a request about the parking lot lights, but
Yeah.
some of the other stuff that would,
Oh, that's what I mean.
And you
Yeah.
don't need us to back you. That's gotta be done.
yeah. But some of the other stuff
Yeah. Okay.
with the support of the board.
And my question is, are they gonna have a door for that office like they do at the schools where the door is locked
Mhm.
and you tell? Well, then I would suggest that our office needs to have the same thing, whatever security measures they put in there. The next office down needs to have the same security measures.
And these are security measures that most county offices already have,
I know that.
and we don't.
They
So-
do.
Metal detectors also.
Yeah, they're going to have metal detectors. They're going to have, which I don't think we need to go that far. Metal detectors, bulletproof glass, panic systems, the mag lock system on the door. I don't know if they're going to have a security personnel over there. I haven't heard that, but just to,
I would think we need the same security that they have before the office next door.
I'm in agreement. I think the same.
I'm not sure what more you think we need on the door to explain.
I mean, the mag lock system on the front door was more of a, I don't know, just a.
It's
It's
a
not as
fast way to lock the door. If you see something happening, you don't actually have to go up to the door and physically lock it
Mhm.
because those windows are not bulletproof.
So we're not talking about keeping the doors locked.
No, definitely not. We're a public office. They need to be able to
They
get
need
in
to
and
be
out.
open. We're not talking about keeping the doors locked all day. We're talking about if something were to happen, that we can lock the doors without physically going to the door to lock them.
If they have a lockdown in the city, then you
Right.
go to, you could have a way of doing it without having to get up and go do it.
Right.
Okay.
I think we need to know the estimates on the cost of that, and that needs to come up and be approved and go into the next budget.
Okay.
I'm
Well, we were looking
I
for,
think we need to make a
them to pay for it.
recommendation that we have the same security for our office as that county office has,
and it not
and that
come
the
out of our
county
budget.
pay for it. If they're
Exactly.
moving them
Right.
next to us, they're the ones making us less secure, they should pay for it.
I agree.
Shouldn't be a part of our budget. Should come from there. I mean, because if they're doing it,
It's their building.
right.
And I mean, there's no guarantee that our requests will be listened to, but I think we need to make them.
I agree, and then at least it would be in writing, the request would be in writing, and you'll have it submitted to them. And what the cost is something that they would discuss anyway. So the request, I think, should be made.
If you don't ask, they assume that, you know, they can get away with not doing it. So, yeah, so I think we need to ask
Yes.
for the same security systems that they're putting in place. So what do you need? You need a motion from us to, for you to draft a letter or?
I mean, I guess draft a letter and then you could sign it, or I mean, it doesn't matter who signs it, and send it to Sparty and Sherry Smalls, the CFO.
But we need a motion to have that done.
Yeah, to give you authority to sign it, I guess, yeah.
I make a motion that we send a letter to the county manager asking for the same security measures that he's putting in the public defense office as we are right next door.
I second the motion.
Then properly moved and second that we draft a letter to include the same safety measures that are being put in place for the
Public defense.
public defense office, be the same thing in the Board of Election here next door to them. Question?
I would ask that we requested that it should be, as we are the tenant, it should be at their expense.
At their expense.
At the county's
Yes.
expense.
Okay, okay.
I agree to the friendly amendment to my motion.
And I will
Our
say,
expense.
I will say that we have feelers out. We're getting quotes for stuff so that we can include that as well, just so that they have a general idea of what it'll cost.
Well, they're
they
gonna
should
know what
already
it's
have
costing
it.
them. They're already gonna
Yeah,
know
they
what
Yeah.
should
That's
already
true.
have it.
That's true, but I
Right,
mean,
so,
just
Yeah.
for,
Uh,
you know, information's sake.
Any other questions? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay. We talked last time about setting up a data request email. That email has been set up. And I have the email address for you and anybody listening. It's data, DATA, requests, REQUESTS .BOE at co.pasquotank.nc.us. It's a long one, but I wish it could be like at pasquotank.com, but our emails are very long. So that went out to the Sunshine list that is on our website. I sent it all to you as well, just to get information out there. If you have a data request, submit it through this email, and this email is funneled to all three of us. I Mary's job description is also, I gave that to y'all. It's in your packet. Obviously, with the support of y'all for the data on the page, I'll have to update her description again to include that. I think it's actually in there, like data. Hold on. Yeah, data entry, database maintenance. So it's already in there. I also including maintenance and auditing of absentee balloting records, which is what she was doing in the last election, accepting absentee ballots and securing them, all of that fun stuff. Did that already. The fall conference, for anybody who will be on the board at that time, is going to be August 2nd through the 3rd. It'll be virtual again. I think you had asked about the general statute concerning minutes. I gave that to y'all as well, just for you to read. And then I have some budget updates whenever y'all are ready. Ready? Okay. So I got an email from Sherry Smalls. Sherry Smalls is the chief financial officer for the county, head of compiling the budgets and presenting it to the county commissioners. She asked me to redo, or to, what's the word? I guess resubmit our budget accounting for no board pay increases, no election day pay increases, and an increase in one-stop pay from $8.50 an hour to $10 an hour.
Did you get the last part again? No board, no.
Election day, and one-stop pay from $8.50 to $10.
To what?
$8.50 to $10.
10?
And that was to be left out too.
Well, that would be updated because we have it to 12 in the budget right now. We would just decrease it to 10. So board pay would stay the same as it is currently. Election day pay would stay the same as it is currently. Her reasoning for this was that the county is trying to institute a 401k, a 5% 401k, a cost of living increase for all county employees. Also, they are unsure of exactly what the financial burden of what is happening currently in our county will be. So they're just taking precautions.
So what did it say about salary increase for clerical staff?
For who?
For Mary.
For Mary. Mary is at a level 13 right now, currently. She will be bumping up a step on July 1st, just because that's
Anniversary.
her anniversary. And then she will get a cost of living increase of 2%.
So they took that out also?
They took it out in a sense, but she's still getting a pay increase to the level that we wanted her to be at.
To the same level
Yeah.
that we requested?
Yep.
Okay.
So yes and no.
So is this a two version thing they want, or that's the version they want?
That's the version version they want. Yeah, I can't talk today.
Was her request based on the county manager?
I mean, he was CC'd in all the emails, so he knows. I imagine, I don't think that she would just like carte blanche say, like, make these decisions, because she's not the county manager. So I imagine that it did come through him, but I don't know that for sure.
That was a recommendation that she made.
Well, it was sent from her, but I can't say that it was her recommendation. I don't know.
I mean, we still.
I don't
so
know
It was a
where-
recommendation made by somebody. so-
Well, yeah, but she didn't tell me who the recommendation was from.
Well, obviously, they're expecting to have to outlay a lot of money.
Yeah.
Reasons for it.
So, that's just what she told me. She didn't tell me, I mean, most requests that come through that office come from the county manager, but she didn't explicitly say that it was Sparty, so I can't say for sure.
So the onus on the poll workers will only get an increase the day of the election. That's the onus.
No, they're not getting an election day increase. They're getting a one-stop increase.
One
Oh.
stop.
You said election day.
From
I said
850 to 10.
I said no board pay increase, no election day increase, and one stop would be increased from $8.50 an hour to $10
So
an
one
hour.
stop. I thought I had a election day.
I did too. That's
Yeah,
what you
so
said.
one stop is the increase.
One stop.
Your election day is just a flat fee, it's not hourly.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, one-stop pay is increasing, $1.50 an hour.
Well, in lieu of all this going on, yeah, well, I'll listen to what you all have to say. Anyone have any input on the recommendation that they're making?
Sounds like it's not really a recommendation.
Sounds like it's a done deal to
A
me.
request.
Yeah, it sounds like a done deal.
You're right, Liz.
Oh,
So they're not asking you to defend anything? They've
No.
already decided.
This is just what she sent me this weekend.
And she just asked you just to take it out?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, and she sent me on Monday. Y'all have this sheet with a bunch of figures on it. The information that she had on different pays across the state, and compared to other boards, I
What
guess.
page, where is that?
It was a sheet that I gave you.
I mean, pretty deep
Little
back
sheet.
in.
No, it was
Yeah.
it was the top sheet
Right, right here,
with the figures and the highlights on it.
Them yellow highlights.
like the yellow highlights, lab.
It would have been right on top when you came in.
Go ahead.
Okay. She just, the annual payment for Pasquotank is. I mean, obviously, these numbers are a little bit,
Some of them are not comparable.
A little
Some of them
bit-
are comparing apples to oranges. 'cause
Yeah, a little bit
Camden is
inflated.
nowhere near what we are.
because the, like the Beaufort County pay is dependent on the amount of meetings. I mean, she has direct access to how much board pay has been this year or last year because of how many meetings we had. I mean, she's got the figures. So that's where that came from. She doesn't have access to that information for other boards necessarily. So, I mean, it's a little bit off, but
But this pay was based on the money that they provided also for them from the state too, right?
well, no,
That's not from the county.
right. Some of that was from the state. yeah.
So even though that's there, it's based on what the state gave us to help with those costs.
Not all of your meetings were paid out of state, the HAVA funds.
But
I mean, not the
poll
HAVA funds, the CARES funds.
work- Poll work, when we up those poll workers to the money,
Yeah, that was,
that's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. That came out of there.
mhm.
But it's all put in there like,
Well, this is just, your pay. The top part is just the board pay. That's not poll worker pay.
Also,
Um,
this is not correct annual payment because this was a presidential election that
Right.
had so many more meetings
Right.
than you have during a regular year or during even a year when we only have a city election. We don't have all those meetings that we had for a
Right.
presidential election.
Right. So their numbers would reflect numbers of a non-presidential year,
Right.
whereas ours reflect the numbers of a presidential year. So it's not comparing even cost to cost.
Yeah, but even, I
Anybody can
mean,
prove anything they want with numbers.
this is just what she gave me. And then if you look a little bit further down, you'll see like Currituck, Pasquotank in person, county, as far as their chief judge, judge, and assistant pay goes. Person's ahead of us in chief judge, and then we're ahead of both in judges and assistants. So
Now, what's highlighted, is that what we asked for?
now the chief judge, judge, and assistant pay was not what she had asked me for originally. She had asked me for board pay and for one-stop pay.
Oh, okay. That's what we had in our budget for them.
But this is what they're getting now.
That's what they're getting now. We
Right.
had upped it. I think it was to 275, 250, and 225
Right.
is what we had upped it to in the budget. I don't know if maybe we can counter with like a mid, but this is just what she asked me to update our budget to now, to put it back to what it was.
I'll share this with y'all. I spoke with Sparty the other day. He said that he asked about our budget request.
Mhm.
And he said, I said, well, Emma's done her little research and whatever and sent over information. He said, I understand. He said, but he said that the county board of elections meets a lot, is what he said.
Yeah.
And therefore, you know, the bottom line is the amount of money spent, you know, for those purposes. So he didn't seem to feel compelled at all that we were non-competitive or that we needed to experience any increase.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would like to go on record, Larry, you have a lot of inside information with the county county.
Not really.
But it's like you're speaking for the board, and I want to make sure when you go,
No, I was getting information.
I know.
He
but
just was talking
it
to
was not
me.
information that we requested that you get. So when you go, you need to make sure you let him know you're speaking for Larry and not for the board, okay?
Oh, of course, always.
All right, I just want to go on record as to make that.
Yeah, well, let me go on record and say that I was just a listener. He offered he asked a question and then offered that information.
But he has the direct line to the board members, and he need to ask information like that to the board itself and not to one person that just got on the board. And I have never received a phone call from Mr. Spotty requesting any information, but it seems like all the information we're getting from Spotty is coming from you. And I just want to go on record to make sure you know that we want to make sure you let him know you're speaking for Larry and not for the board, okay?
He understands that, and so do I.
Okay. I just want to know the record.
Sure enough.
I'd like to be on the record applauding Mr. Cook for doing his homework and doing his research. I think we all have Sparty's number. We all have the numbers of the State Board of Elections if we need to get something. That does not mean that we're speaking for the board.
Okay, and in line with that, he said that Spotty contacted him and told him that information. My saying was that if he wants to talk to the board, he needs to contact the board members themselves. That's what I'm saying. It's okay to talk and call to the state board. And I remember previously.
No, that's a misunderstanding.
Let me finish. I remember previously, it was told to me that if I got any information from the state board, that you all wanted to make sure that everybody got the same information. So even with us having those numbers, we have to make sure we're speaking for the board, not as a individual, but as a board, as a group. And it needs to be discussed with us before you do that. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am. Please be clear. He did not contact me. I was at breakfast and we just happened to have a table conversation. That's all that amounted to. He asked a question.
We get
telling you what
information.
happened.
We get information back in meetings that you have contact with people that we are not privy to.
He just shared it with you.
I-
I'm sorry.
We don't need that attitude.
I'm sorry.
Yes, exactly.
Jeez.
I'm not attacking, I'm just want to go on record as to say that, when we speak, we need to speak as a board and not as an individual.
And let me just go on record and saying too that,
If I make some efforts to find out information and so forth and bring it back and share with you, is that, is that a problem with that process?
I think it is. In my field, in my line, I think it is, because when you go and ask questions, we're not aware that you're doing this until you come back to the meetings.
Right.
Right. So my whole thing is, as a board, it's like you're having meetings with someone and he's not contacting us. All I want him to do is contact the board itself. When he has statements like that to make, it needs to be made to the board, not to one individual.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
And it's not an attack on you. I understand.
Yeah, I'm
you,
just
you are
inquiring.
you have a lot of energy and
And curiosity.
right. But I just want to make sure that when he wants to share information, it needs to come to all of us, not just to one person. Then you come back and report for
Okay.
him.
And any other conversations, I'll suggest that
Thank you.
to any
Yeah.
county employees in particular.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Addie
Yes,
was
ma'am, I
trying
got
to- Addie was.
now
trying
I
to
was
say
just saying
something.
that, and of course I was just before Larry coming on the board, but we do have a board chair and we should respect that position as a board chair. And if there is something that's asked of us that pertains to the board, then to me, I'm going to direct them to the board chair so that she then can bring it to the board if necessary.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, to clarify that, the role of the chairman is to run the meeting and sign the legal documents. We all have an equal voice on this board.
You do, but that's why if we didn't need a board chair, there would not been one appointed. So we do have a board chair that we need to,
Her role is to sign legal documents and run the meeting.
and she speaks for the board. She's the board chair. She speaks for the board. I couldn't go out here and speak for the board.
All I know is I sent an email to every Board of Education member about a concern I had. Not one of them responded. When I finally complained about nobody responding, the board chair told me she spoke for the board and they
That's
didn't
right.
need to respond to me.
That's correct.
That's right.
I was just reflecting back on our previous conference training and the way they explained the roles.
I didn't hear.
Well, moving forward, I just want to, I put what I said on record, and I still stand by that. As the chair, I think I have that right.
Miss Lang, is your mic on? Your mic, is it on?
No.
Was off and on.
Oh, okay. Just make sure if you're talking, it's on because we can't hear you when you're
And
talking.
they can't hear you online.
Yeah.
Is there any other updates that we need to know about?
I gave y'all budget updates.
But before you go on to that, as you stated, I think that it's a done deal, and I think we just move forward with you making those necessary changes and going back to what she requested that we do.
Okay.
Any other discussion about that?
I have one question. We used the rationale on the poll workers' increase in salary, and we decided on $12. I think we discovered that the entry-level maintenance worker salary is $11.07. If we backed off from our previous 12, say to $11.07 for poll workers, with the rationale that that is the entry level hourly for maintenance workers, maybe that would give us a little bit of leverage and help our poll workers. Is that unreasonable?
I couldn't agree more.
I agree.
I think we need,
Based on what she's saying, based on what the information that she sent back,
Mhm.
I think we're just going back and forward. And I think at this time, well, based on what's going on in this city and the increases in things that are going up, that's steadily going up, I think that we don't have a choice but to go with what she's recommended.
I think we do have a choice. I think we can at least respond, because it's like buying a house.
Countering the
One person makes
offer.
an offer, the other one makes a counter offer. Then you decide on what the real thing's gonna be. She's made her offer. We need to make our counter offer with the rationale that Larry said. All he can say is no.
Based on the $11.
And, yeah, the $11.07 that the entry-level people are making, that work for the county.
Entry level with the maintenance department is the lowest, I was told, in the county at $11.07.
Yeah, I definitely think that rationale stands. I just think we have to be, before we like 100% approve that, I think we have to be careful to not favor one-stop workers over election day workers. Because if we're not going to give any increase to, I mean, I obviously putting people at $10 an hour for one-stop would put them kind of in line with election day right now, about what they make per hour. Actually, I think 11 would be better, because if you're working from 6 to 8, that's 14 hours. So you're making about 12-ish dollars an hour. So never mind that rationale. Just ignore everything I just said.
I would suggest we go for the 1107 for the one stop and for the poll workers.
What would that come to? I have to have my phone.
Wait, you mean putting poll workers on hourly pay? Like election day workers on hourly pay?
Yeah.
That would decrease what they already get.
Oh,
That would be
Scratch that.
crazy.
The 1107 for, I think we have to at least fight for that.
Right.
I do
That's
too.
totally fine. I can definitely counter what she asked and say, okay, this is what my board discussed. The entry-level maintenance position, which we've been told is the lowest paid entry-level position in the county, is at 1107. Can we set one-stop pay to 1107?
Well, can we just make our counter offer, and whatever comes back to you, that's what we deal with?
So if she says no, then stick with 10?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
the budget is due when? I mean, the fiscal year ends June 30th, right?
Yep.
So this has to be in as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm going to work on it today and tomorrow, and get it back to her, because I got to go through and change all the numbers. And
Now, that's not poll completely.
yeah. I like that suggestion. So
Okay.
1107 is what we're saying. Okay.
For the
Okay,
one
so
stop.
do we need to put that in the motion?
With the rationale,
With the
yeah.
All
rationale.
right,
Okay.
I need, so can someone put that in the motion?
Mr. Cook, you framed it perfectly.
Can you make a
Would you
motion,
like
Larry?
me to make a motion, you
Yes.
say? I move that we counter offer at $11.07 per hour for the one-stop workers based on the entry-level maintenance starting salary here in the county.
Second.
Then properly moved and seconded that we counter offer with $11.77 for one-stop workers based on the entry-level maintenance workers in the county.
Yes,
All in
ma'am.
favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And so that means no increase for the election day
No.
workers.
Because it'll put one stop kind of in line with election day now. I think that's all that I had. Anybody has any questions?
Okay. Is that all for today?
Yep,
And
I
our
think we
next
covered
meeting
everything.
is scheduled for
June 8th.
June 8th instead of June 7th. All right. No further business for the board?
May I ask Ms. Tate one thing? When you send the information to Sparty about our request for the security information, will you please let us know what the reply is?
Yes. And I'll CC y'all or BCC y'all.
Thank you. You have a question, Ms.
It's always, it's 17 days. Yeah, it doesn't have to be all 17 days. Right, so, the photo ID case in the state court, finished testimony on Friday. They have not laid a decision on that yet. So we don't have any updates on that yet. But as soon as I do, I'm gonna send out a press release. Because if we're gonna have an election this year, then we need people to get ready, because they would probably implement it before the municipal. So we would have to go ahead and get that underway.
Okay. All right. No further business for the board. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Good second. Do I get a second?
I want to stay.
I want to stay.
Well, y'all stay on
Y'all
your
can stop
turn.
me. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at
10:16.
10:16. Right on time, somebody's on went off.
My phone back on.
We turned it to DJs on off, right?
Oh, man, Jack.
So we didn't have anyone on board, right? No one came on today.
Oh, no.
We stood up with people. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're people persons. Yeah.